put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. I'm Julien Skeete, and we're just at about 7:32 a.m. this morning. And in this segment, we have the opportunity to be chatting with Karen Stewart-Duncan, Acting Assistant Superintendent of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And we're speaking traffic restrictions for the Tobago Carnival 2023. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. How have you been enjoying your carnival season? It's Tobago October Carnival. More work than play?
Well, my focus is just work. The play has no part in it at all because we need to make sure that the island is safe.
All right.
Yeah.
Protecting and serving indeed.
With pride. Don't forget
with
that.
With pride. As we get the conversation started this morning, we want to chat a little bit in relation to the Tobago Carnival 2023 in terms of the route, and then we will go into the relevant restrictions that will apply.
Right. Okay. So the route actually starts in this vicinity. Everything starts here and heads north onto Orange Hill Road, and then it goes along the Claude Noel Highway to Wilson Road, heads south on Wilson Road, and comes back along to the waterfront. That's the general route. For the carnival period.
Right, so we head on out from this area here. That's folks, in case you're not sure, at Comfort Inn here along the streets here, part of the parade route, onto the highway, and we're coming back just at the traffic lights here. That's Wilson Road.
Yes.
Heading into that's what we sometimes describe as downtown Scarborough from the highway area there, going straight around and back in terms of that's the circular flow.
Yes.
Now, naturally, along that pathway, there are a number of key areas, taxi stands, etc.
Yes.
That will require some changes. Tell us a little bit about those restrictions and adjustments for the carnival period.
So persons traveling to the west, which is Crown Point End and so on, their taxi stand has been redirected to Scarborough Secondary School. I know it's a distance off, but unfortunately, that is the best we can do given the way the route is structured. Those persons heading north, Mason Hall and so on, they will find their taxi stands at Pump Mill Junction, facing north. And those heading east towards Charlottesville, Goodwood, etc., they would find their taxi stand in that same vicinity at Wilson Road, just beyond the traffic light, east of the traffic light, facing east.
All right. So that's at the Wilson Road. I want you to remind me again about that one. The second one in terms of that's the
Pump Mill Junction.
Right, Pump Mill.
Yes. So they will be at Pump Mill Junction, facing north to head to those areas in the north.
So persons are expected to be on that opposite side of the road in terms of being able to access the services from that end.
Yes.
And similarly, as you said, for the western side, persons down on this end.
Scarborough Secondary.
So does that comfortably cover in terms of also considerations for those going north or east?
Yes, because east, the persons would, the taxis would be facing east. They would be on the highway of itself, east of Wilson Road. So just beyond the highway, east of Wilson Road, on the northbound lane, on the northern side of the highway, they would be parked there facing east, so it would be just easy to get in and head to the east.
So bearing in mind, as it is, we're looking at these restrictions, will there be any possible considerations as it relates to probably parking? I know usually sometimes during the season at this time, there's some allowance guided by the police in terms of along particular parts on the highway, etc. So you could tell us a little bit about that?
So I can tell you where the restrictions are. Right. In terms of parking is, of course, restricted at Market Square because, again, the route comes along Wilson Road, so we cannot have people coming into Market Square. The old FCB car park, Wilson Road, Scarborough, between Claude Noel and Carrington Street, there's no parking there. Orange Hill Road in the vicinity of Yachts, which is just beyond this point, there's no parking here as well. Garden Side Street and Northside Connector Road. So other parking spaces, for example, Uptown, Tambourine Square, those kind of places could be used. It's a weekend, so Republic Bank car park could be used. All these places could be used that are outside of the route, yes, and outside of these spaces that I mentioned.
All right, so no restrictions with Shore Park, which is also nearby to us.
So, of course, because the route is from this end, not beyond there. Yes. So we should be able to permit people to come down Old Government House Road.
Yes.
And then
that's coming down the hill there in front of Works. That is the Division of Infrastructure.
Right. We should be able to allow people to come there and park down on that side.
Now, there will be the necessary guidance and support of officers at all these points?
Yes, yes, we would. We expect that our officers would be out in their numbers, not only the local Tobago officers, but we have augmented our strength by having personnel come up from Trinidad in order to assist us in that regard. So we would have the space properly manned.
All right. Tell us about when these restrictions will apply, the time period.
The legal notice, which was published on the 29th of September, gives Carnival, Tobago Carnival commences from 12 a.m. on the 27th and ceases at 12 midnight on the 29th. So within that time frame, that's when those parking restrictions would apply.
So these restrictions will apply from in the morning? That's
yes, from Juve.
Right. Okay, good. The 27th being, is it in the morning as in Friday or from Saturday?
You know, there's always that disparity as whether 12 a.m. is the following day or the other day. So let's just say midnight on Friday night.
Yes.
Yes. Let's say that. That
so
might
that the
be
restrictions will apply there safely, and this goes down until Sunday.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Although the decoration for Carnival actually ends at 6 p.m. Basically, well, the route, people on the street.
So that was my next question. The distinction between the restrictions go up to, as well as the cutoff. Is it that we have till midnight on Sunday to revel in the streets?
No. 6 p.m.
So the cutoff is at 6 p.m.
Yeah. So thereafter, we expect everything to be cleared, the streets, everything should be back to normal by Sunday midnight.
All right.
Yeah.
What would you want in terms of being able to urge the general public regarding these restrictions, and how do you anticipate they will continue to work, given your experience over the years?
Right. So I know sometimes the challenge with people is that they want to get as close as possible to where they are going, but that is not always practical given what we have, the dynamics we have to deal with. So all we're asking is that work along with us. Whatever the officer says to you, just follow the guidelines and everything should be okay. We are working with you. We want to make sure everybody have a enjoyable carnival. We want to make sure they have their fun. We're not trying to hinder that. But of course, we need to make sure that we keep everyone safe. So we're just asking, work with us, especially when it comes to your children. Make sure your children are well secured, that you don't leave them, unattended, and next thing you know, they go missing and that sort of thing. Yes, we have a lost children's boot, which is located at the FCB car park. So anybody finding any straying children can drop them off there, but we want to avoid that. As much as you want to have your fun, we ask you to be responsible.
Tell us a little bit about those persons who reside in communities that will be circled by the route. And I speak of areas like Montgomery, getting across the Bishop, Sangster's Hill, and so on.
Yes.
How are they to treat under these circumstances?
Right. So we have that all as covered as well. Once they need to get home, there are passes that will be available for some persons. Those who don't have, all they need to do is provide proof that they live in that area and they would be allowed to enter into their space. Yes, because we don't, once again, they may not be participating in the carnival, but we would want them to get to their home safely unhindered. So it's just a matter of speaking with whichever officer is at the location that they're going to, and that officer would allow them to get to their respective destination with the appropriate information.
All right. I see persons asking about one of the very obvious, those wreckers that continue to create a circumstance when I think I am in a safe space.
Right.
Is there that avenue available? Because you just went through a list of areas that will be restricted.
Right.
Most certainly, those are the areas that the wrecker will be removing you from. But is there an avenue that people can use the same officers that are out there to verify where can I park, etc.?
Yes, because all our officers are going to be briefed before they are dispatched for duty. So they should be aware as to where the parking areas are, so as to facilitate persons. Yes?
All right. And I want you to remind our viewers, because I feel like that is so important, especially for those, to ensure we try our best to avoid the wrecker. What are the areas that are restricted again for parking? If you can just remind our viewers of that.
Sure, I can. Market Square Car Park, Old FCB Car Park, which is situated at Carrington Street, Wilson Road, Scarborough, between Carrington and Claude Noel Highway, Claude Noel Highway in the vicinity of Wilson Road, Orange Hill Road in the vicinity of Yachts Marketing and Milford Road, Garden Side Street and North Side Connector.
All
Those are
right.
the areas.
Somebody's asking in terms of persons coming from east to west, how are they to get to Shore Park?
Well, they would have to use the back roads. Because this area between Orange Hill and Wilson Road is going to be blocked off to regular traffic. So they would have to pass through the back, come around through Darrow Spring.
So they have to use in terms of
They would
that
have
back
to,
area.
yes.
Or viewer, we also have the option, as one of our singers has said over the years, the road make to walk on Carnival Day.
And it's good exercise.
So it's probably good exercise as well in terms of heading down. But if for some reason you're not in the festivities or the activities at all and you don't want to come through Scarborough, you got to use in terms of the outer routes to make yourselves and to head in the direction. Tell us about the challenges that persons may face for those who may not want to comply. And to make this easier in the sense, I know that's an area you probably don't like to talk about, but you got to remind the persons.
Yes, that the officer, once an individual is not willing to comply with the instructions of an officer, he will take the appropriate action. I would want to advise people, you don't want to sit in a station, you don't want to spend the night in a cell, so just comply, because we want to make sure that you have your fun. So all it takes is just to do what you're told, and that's it.
Can we look forward to it? I heard you talk about the briefing, because one of the concerns people have at a time like now in this season of Carnival, that officers and not all are as accommodating and engaging, and some are just very rigid in terms of enforcing the law. Is that going to be one of the things you emphasize to your officers? You know, that we protect and serve with pride. So it's not just that it's Carnival season and we treat everyone as though they're intoxicated and they can't function and they're really just disturbing me from doing what I am required to do.
Okay. So one of the things I realized that sometimes cause an officer to adopt a position like that is what happens prior to you getting to that point. Because sometimes you try to facilitate some people and they abuse that, so that by the time you get to that point, you are the one who is now suffering the result of what went before. So I hear that, and we are going to urge our officers to treat every case on its own merit. And we hope that everything would run smoothly. But I want to say that they are not obligated to use that discretion, yes? Because they can just simply say, this is the law and this is how it goes. However, it's Carnival. We want people to have fun. We are going to make sure that we do everything possible without bending or breaking the law to ensure that we facilitate people and make sure that they get all the information they need so that they can have a good time.
Excellent. And the time runs from 12 a.m. on the 27th on Friday right down to Sunday at 12 a.m. But please note, folks, 6 p.m. is that cutoff. Any other critical information you want to share with the public before we close this morning?
Not for me. My greatest concern is how people treat with their children in this season when they bring them into town. And that I would want to reiterate. Remember to take care of the little ones. Make sure that you put proper systems in place to make sure that they are attended to. And if you can't do that in the town, at least leave them at home with a responsible adult so that your children would be safe. We don't want a situation where children go missing and so on. Yeah.
Note the admonition. Thank you very much of Karen Stewart-Duncan, our acting assistant superintendent. She didn't say leave them home alone without trusting another child. No, you got to leave them with a responsible adult if you're going to leave them home. And, you know, as my grandmother oftentimes says, if you're bringing them out with you, ensure that they are always connected to you, as in you're holding on to them. Yeah. Or, in fact, whatever distance they are, you can make that visual contact at all times to be responsible for the young ones that we have out there, even as they may form part of the celebrations for this Tobago October Carnival. So we want to say thank you very much again for bringing us the information here. Reminder, folks, for those who will be traveling in the western direction, your taxi stand area is going to be in Shore Park. And for those who are going right in the vicinity of Scarborough Secondary, and those who are going north and east, that's in the Pump Mill area, that will be your taxi stand for this Tobago October Carnival season. Reminding you to be safe out there. Remember these restrictions. It's only for a short period as we continue to enjoy the festivities. Viewers, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.